Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. On this week's episode, I'm going to talk to you about SBF, Sam Bankman Fried, using customer customer funds to suppress the price of Bitcoin. The whole FTX trial is going on now, and is it a mess? Also, just talking about some other stuff as well. But first of all, you should get a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. If you've seen the FTX debacle, you know why. Go to bitbox.swiss/Bitcoin Made Simple and use the promo code Bitcoin Made Simple to get 5% off your order, and you'll be glad you did it and you got your coins securely off the exchange. So, I'm sure you guys have seen the news, but basically, SBF, I'll just call him that for he doesn't deserve to have his full name said. Uh, so they were using at FTX, they were using clients' funds to suppress the price of Bitcoin under $20,000. So, first of all, it just really goes to show you that the reason the Bitcoin price has not mooned is because there are people conspiring to keep it down low. That it should be obvious by now. So take advantage of that opportunity and stack as much as you can. But it just goes to show you if somebody hasn't exited the fiat mindset, then they might be in the Bitcoin space, but they're still in the fiat mindset. And I struggle with this because I am a business owner. So you have to play in the fiat world. But I'm also a Bitcoiner. And in a perfect world, I did nothing but Bitcoin. But that world isn't here yet. So I guess how do you make sure you don't get lost in either? I don't know. It's a delicate balance. But to talk about the SBF thing, I mean, if you've this whole thing, and there's people, I'm not saying that this is happening anywhere else, but there are people out there saying, hey, it's happening at Binance or here, this place or the other. The point of the matter is you don't know. If your coins are on an exchange, sure, it might look good. You open up the app and you can look at your total dance up and down and like, hey, there's the amount of Bitcoin I own. It doesn't matter unless you have them on your wallet, and you can check your wallet and go, okay, yep, the funds are still indeed there. So yeah, this sounds like a long infomercial for a Bitbox hardware wallet, but I'm just telling you guys, you got to get one and you got to take your coins off the exchange. Because otherwise, I mean, if you're new to Bitcoin, and I mean, I still consider myself new to Bitcoin, even though it's been years. But frankly, unless you've been around since like 2011, I think we're all new to Bitcoin. But if you're new to Bitcoin and you're like, oh man, like I would have never fallen for that whole charade at Mount Gox, you're falling for it again. Just so you know, yeah, you're falling for it. So don't play the game. Don't let them do that. Don't let them take your funds and fight back by taking your coins off the exchange. So it's a very sad existence that those people live, but you have to be careful in this world. We say don't trust, verify. Well, do that with everything. Do that across the board. You should not be trusting anything. So that is my little PSA there. And that's really, I mean, there's not a whole lot of news there. It's just something I wanted to talk about. And then another thing you guys will, as Bitcoiners, will appreciate, I've been tweeting about the last couple of days, but my wife has started us on Whole30. And I feel like this is a rite of passage as a Bitcoiner, because one thing I haven't done in my Bitcoin journey is be super health conscious. And here I am, doing a Whole30, giving it a whirl. I mean, I started off my journey. I was at one point early on in my Bitcoin journey, years ago at this point, but I did a very long period of time where I didn't drink any alcohol. And I don't drink a ton, but I like to drink beer. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to see if it bothers me to go without beer. Like, there was no reason for me, it wasn't like my wife was like, you're a different person when you're drinking. Like, that, I just don't understand where this comes from. None of that. I mean, I don't get drunk, so I think that helps. But yeah, I'm just a beer drinker. But I don't know. I think I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a problem, if that makes sense. So I'd done it a handful of times before where I'd just go like, 3 weeks and be like, oh, good, I didn't get the shakes. So must be all right. I know I did that right after college. Like right after college, I was like, let me just go like a month and see if I'm okay. And I ended up being all right. So anyways, yeah, I started doing that and it just went and went and went. And I think I went like 6 months. It was some crazy amount of time where I was like, whoa, I cannot believe I've gone that long. So that was good to me to see. I mean, you always got to keep yourself in check with anything, that could be addictive or things that aren't great for you, not too much. Don't have too much. But anyway, so I was like legit, I definitely got overweight at one point. I mean, it was the biggest I ever was. I don't remember the number. But I know it was around my one sister's wedding, and I was like, whoa. Like, I've seen the pictures, like, geez. And so I probably went down like, I think it went down like 25 pounds from there. And that was amazing because all I had to do was not be a little context. I think, you guys know at least about one of the miscarriages that me and my wife have had, but it was the first one we had. We had another one, and I think I got into a little bit of a depressive state and was just eating whatever I wanted, consuming whatever I wanted, as much as I wanted, while feeling sorry for myself and not exercising. So anyways, then I whipped my butt into shape just a little bit, enough to where it was like I was back to dad bod. That was my joke was I was like, oh God, I'm getting dangerously close to dad flob. I'd rather be dad bod than dad flob. So I got myself back in shape. And I mean, it's really just, it's maintained, which is good, because I haven't really been really taking care of myself. But yeah, my wife was like, wanted to do this. It's not for weight loss, like Whole30. The main thing she said was to reduce inflation, and that's really funny for a Bitcoiner. But not inflation, inflammation. So inflammation within your entire body. So it's 30 days with like nothing processed, no dairy, no alcohol, obviously, no sugar, and like really you're basically eating meat and vegetables, and you have fruit too, so that is a nice change of pace. But man, this is day 3, and I already can't wait till it's over. But it is brutal. I feel bad. Like the most brutal part lands on my wife, and that's the prep in the kitchen and everything. Spending all the time in the kitchen where she belongs. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. All you that are gonna jump down my throat and say that was serious. How did you do that? Don't you ever say that. We've worked so many years to get out of these stigmas. No, she doesn't belong in the kitchen. No, now that sounds worse. See, this is the trick you play, because now it's like, oh, you said she doesn't belong in the kitchen. Does that mean she sucks at cooking? No, I was overweight at one point, so yeah, she's a pretty good cook. I will tease her about, if not that she ever would watch or listen, because she does not. But I openly tease her about her baking. It doesn't taste bad. It just presentation wise always ends up looking funny. So we have a good laugh at that. It was funny because it's a Pennsylvania tradition. When you go to a wedding, the family and friends make a bunch of cookies, and then they have this huge cookie table, and you can just go to town and eat all these different types of cookies. And her and her mom were like, we went to her cousin's wedding recently, and she's like, I wonder why they, I said, are they doing a cookie table? Like, I would hope so. I mean, this is Western Pennsylvania, damn it. And they were like, I think so. I would think so. But they were like, they haven't asked us to make anything. And then they were like, well, maybe they've seen our baking. Anyways, but yeah, the hardest part has been my wife has to do all the prep, which quite frankly is the only reason I am doing it, because I would have given up already if it was. But then if I give up, then she's doing all this prep and work in the kitchen for literally nothing. I mean, just for her own benefit, but she really is doing it she wants me to be healthy. I don't know. I guess she likes me. That's what I always joke and say. I guess she likes me and wants me around. So, I'll listen to her. But yeah, so the food prep, but I'm down. I think I'm down today like 5 pounds in 3 days, which I know, like any diet, it's always quick at the beginning. But this wasn't really a diet meant to be for losing weight. It's for reducing inflammation, giving your body like kind of a detox from all the processed food. And yet here I am losing weight. So I was like, hey, I'm kind of in striking distance of what would be, I think, an ideal weight for me. And that'd be like honestly a number that not that I didn't think was impossible, but it was one of those things you're like, if I could lose 15 pounds, that'd be great, But yeah, I mean, 5 already. Why not just keep crushing it? I think one of the things too that helps is that there's no desire to eat anything after hours. Like, I noticed a couple times if I cut out for a handful of days eating after dinner, that I'd lose some weight. And I've seen people talk about the intermittent fasting, which you basically, I think they say you shouldn't eat for like a 12-hour period every day. So you go from like, if the last thing you eat is at 8 p.m., then don't eat again until after 8 a.m. And that's really good for weight gain, because your body is then using the fat that you have stored like it properly should, because your body is a well-oiled machine. So anyways, I'm not here to give you a big physiology lesson. What I'm here to say is that I'm proud to finally be joining the Bitcoiners that do relatively drastic things to improve their health, in addition to everything else that we do to try and improve our lives, such as buying Bitcoin, holding it, and teaching others about it. And sorry if I'm like look a little rigid, or if you hear me go like, not to sound old, but over the weekend at my in-laws, they're preparing to move, and they're a weight machine that they were getting rid of, and the neighbor was taking it, and he had taken everything apart, but he's an older guy, and I was like, I'll carry the weights down for him. So I put like 70 pounds of weights in each of the milk crates, like in the milk crate, and carried them 70 pounds at a time, and did not lift with my legs, lifted with my back like an idiot. And it didn't hurt at the moment. And then on Monday morning, I coughed and was like, and yep, So I'm still pretty sore. But yeah, I'm happy to be doing this. Yes, at night, whenever I want to just relax and have a beer. Oh, I can't wait till I can do it again. It's gonna be wonderful. Um, but you can do it. You can hang tight. And if we only make it 15 days, we only make it 15 days. I'm kidding. I know that's not the attitude, but seriously, we're missing out on Halloween candy. I mean, it'll all be there, but come on. Worst possible time. Why would I do this during football season? During fall beer season? I mean, was not thinking this through. It didn't hit me till like the day or two before. I was like, whoa. Whole30, can I have beer during it? And she was like, no. I was like, oh, I would have never agreed. I would have never agreed to this torture. But, hang in tight. You can do anything for any period of time. You can do anything for a month. You can do anything for 6 months. My mom used to say, like, if there was a job you, like, hated or something, she's like, you can do anything for a year, If you need to do it, you got to do it. So, anyways. And I appreciate all of you guys, all you Bitcoiners out there who really, really reach out and support. I can feel the love from you guys. And the whole discussion about my mother-in-law and everything there. And I've got a little bit of feedback and some like pretty prestigious doctors that have recommended some things for my mother-in-law. So we're going to do it. We're going to go for it. And she's going to keep doing her treatments. But yeah, it's still one of those things that it's hard to wrap your head around. I think it always will be. The hardest part is that she's just like so healthy, and looks so healthy. You can just tell that she's tired, like a little bit more than usual. But yeah, it's just hard to sit there and think. Like you don't think about it while you're with her, which is great. And then it hits you afterwards. So, thank you. Keep praying for her. Appreciate all of that. And so it makes me think of this C.S. Lewis quote. So I posted it on Twitter. And let's see here. A lot of you probably have me muted because I talk about sports so much now, but I don't know. It's just what I talk about. I talk about what I want to talk about. Okay, so the quote, this is paraphrasing it. Stop regarding all the unpleasant things as interruptions of one's own or real life. The truth is, of course, that what one calls the interruptions are precisely one's real life. So we, as humans want to plan. We want to plan everything. We want everything to go according to plan. We want to follow the plan. And when things do not go according to our plan, we get a little upset. And me being chief among them. So when you look at that quote and you realize, okay, all the inconveniences, all the things that pop up in your life, that is just life. I always tell people, like, when people are like, oh, I like feel sad, and like, don't get me wrong, depression is nothing to laugh about, but like, I'm like, you don't want to be like numb. You don't want to be on medication where you're just numb. Sometimes like fluctuation in emotions lets you know you're alive. But another part of being alive is adjusting on the fly because things do not go according to plan. I mentioned last week about, my mother-in-law, my wife's father passed away when she was 2 in a car accident, you know. And my wife, when we were talking about her mom, she's like, I try to tell myself, it's been 2.5 years since she was diagnosed. And she's like, I try and tell myself that, like she could have died in a car accident on the way home from her first doctor's appointment. And so this is all bonus time, which is all very true. And then, I said, well, I mean, seriously, like, what if your mom was in the car with your dad when he died? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's even bonus from there, Like, if God came down and gave my wife the opportunity, said, hey, I could let your dad have lived from your entire life until now, or just go back to the original plan, what would you take? So from a Bitcoin perspective, we all think about time. Time is money, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of went down that route last episode, but it just kind of messes with your head, and you think about time and what is all this? And it's like, you're just living life. Like, everything that comes up is part of life. And you just need to be able to take a step back, take a deep breath, and relax and accept that it's part of life. And as long as you, and not to use another biblical quote, but I'm not going to directly quote it because I'm not going to look it up, but it was, Jesus talking about, God providing for you. And he's like, well, like, if God provides for the birds and the creatures all over the earth, provides enough food for them, and he loves you so much more, what makes you think he's not going to provide for you? So things aren't always on our timeline. But when they do work in the right sequence, it usually is at the right time, at the exact moment that we need things. It might not feel like it. There might be moments where I'm like, I've had moments where I'm like, why isn't this happening now? Like, you guys know the, ups and downs of Movies Plus. I'm like, why isn't this just broken through yet? Like, why not right now? Please, God, right now. Like, let it happen now. And I don't know, maybe it's not the right moment for it to have the most success possible. Maybe the right group of people. Maybe there's more people that are going to get involved, and we have to grow more slowly so that those people then, I don't know. You can't figure it out on your own. It comes, you just got to roll with it. So anyways, that's my big philosophical, lesson. But, day to day, it's still a struggle, and it's hard to be an entrepreneur while doing all this, dealing with this personal end, because you can't really call in sick. You don't have days to just wallow. So, but yeah, and thinking about losing people, it just makes me think of, I had 2 friends. One of them ended up having a falling out with, and we weren't friends much after high school, really, but right after high school, these 2 kids I grew up with, their parents were in a horrific car accident, and they lost both their parents at the age of 19. And it's one of those things, like, people say, well, how does God let that happen? It's like, well, God doesn't let bad things happen, just things happen. If God intervened and controlled everything, then we'd be living in his vision. We'd be slaves to his desires. But he loves us so much, he gives us freedom to choose, and that means that we don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is when we make it to heaven on the other end of this, everything will be perfect. But it wasn't going to be that way here on earth, and we all knew that from the beginning. But it doesn't change the fact that certain things happening suck. And watching my friends, my one that I stayed close with, he moved back home after that. And I mean, it was just like one of the saddest things that I've ever. I mean, I think about my friends and their parents and their brother like all the time, because it was just terrible, terrible. And so this is my way of saying to you guys, enjoy every moment that you have. You know, if you have a parent in your life and you do or do not speak with them, maybe use this as a prompt to pick up the phone and call them and just see how they're doing. Do it while you can, or with anyone in your life for that matter. So with all that being said, get a BitBox02 hardware wallet, and I will talk to you guys later.